me.
This is JJ and Alex.
I made a name for myself. I told you I won't be denied.
As you wrap up your day, it's time to get your fix of the teams you live for and the sports you love. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
What's up, everybody? Welcome on in. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Alex Keary, Jeremiah Jensen. I'm Alex. He's JJ. What's going on, JJ? Everything good?
Everything's great. Fired up. You know why? What happens 1 week from tonight?
Oh, boy. Los Utes.
1 week away.
Los Utes taking on Delane Fitzgerald and the pesky Southern Utah Thunderbird. Oh, yeah.
Fired up.
Hey, wait, is the Thunderbird, is that allowed now? Can you have a Thunderbird?
What's politically incorrect about a Thunderbird?
Who are we offending with the Thunderbird? You know what they're going to do? It's the Thunderbird, but it's going to be the car, like the Pontiac. You know what I mean? Was it a Thunderbird?
We can't have animal mascots anymore because of cruelty to animals.
You know what? I don't think Pontiac is Pontiac's no longer with us, right?
They go out of business?
Oh, I mean, it's one of the many GM. Is Saturn still around?
Yes, Pontiac went out of business in 2010.
May she rest.
Yes, you didn't kill Pontiac. They did them to themselves.
Listen, you played yourself, Pontiac. You got to pump out more of those Firebirds and Thunderbirds, man.
The last Pontiac, a white G6, was assembled in January of 2010.
Who's driving that one around? Oh, my goodness. The G6. No,
Same
the
guy that has a Yugo in his garage.
No, yeah, the Thunderbird, I think, is a Ford thing. So there you go. The Thunderbird. Yes, the Thunderbird is a Ford vehicle. Boy, it looks terrible. The newer versions, the 2005, that is dumb. Don't buy one, okay? So I'm just saying, I'm glad that it's a real Thunderbird and that it's politically correct. It's not politically correct to change the mascot to an actual terrible car. So there you go. And Pontiac's no longer with us. See, you learn something every day.
Yeah, that's why you listen to JJ and Alex. Every day, 3 to 7.
When did Saturn... Did you drive a Saturn, Jeremy? Oh, you made it look like you were, disappointed by the whole thing. You seem like a Saturn guy. Nobody knows what that means. What does that mean? Oh, my goodness. I even forgot. I haven't said the word Saturn car in decades. All right. We've got tons to get through today.
We could go through one of these days when things are slower. The worst car that's gone out of business.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's got, what did Mitt Romney's dad run? Was it AMC?
Yeah, AMC.
Yeah, that wasn't a very good brand.
It was the old Jeep. They used to own Jeep. American Motor Company.
Ford made the Edsel. All right, anyway. See, these are all the kind of stuff that, this isn't car talk.
And if you have a car talk show, you have to talk like that, like a bunch of guys from Brooklyn talking about cars.
Don't trust my brother. Don't trust my brother. I used to listen to those guys. I loved it. I loved that show back in the day. All right, let's kick the program off. Our show brought to you by G2G Bars. All natural ingredients and no preservatives make the G2G Bar perfect for anybody who needs a quick, tasty, nutritious boost. You can go to Costco, Holiday Oil, Maverick, Associated Foods, all in the refrigerated section because they keep them refrigerated because they are preservative-free and they're phenomenal. So give them a shot and get that boost today. Let's kick the program off as we always do with the cut, and we'll do it right here.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
And this portion of the show, the cut brought to you by Trajan Wealth, TRAJAN Wealth.com for all your local trusted financial fiduciary needs. Trajan Wealth. All right. Very first one off the bat here, because this is we've got a lot going on. I want to say that Kyle Whittingham is Whit not going to talk to the media anymore, like until probably post game? Not this Monday?
Yeah, Monday. It's game week next week. Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
He'll do his weekly press conference. Players will be made available on Monday for the final time before the game.
Okay. And then Bloody Tuesday, and then Don't Talk to Me Wednesday, and then Game Day Thursday.
There you go.
Actually, they'll move everything up. I think they'll have Bloody Tuesday on Monday.
Yeah, everything moves up a day because of the short week.
Yeah. So the deal is, with fall camp now over officially, time to focus on that regular season. And Southern Utah kicks off a week from tonight. We are a week away from a non-Dublin football game. Dublin's this weekend, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then Delaware State, I have to watch.
Did they make it? Did the Hornets make it to the islands?
I think you better follow them on because now I'm intrigued. This is the best thing that could have happened to this game. I'm going to absolutely turn the game on.
I'm wearing my Delaware shirt this weekend, too.
You've got Red Hens? What are they, Blue Hens?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What am I many, like Pater Pete?
You do have Pater Pete on today, and that's embarrassing for you.
I've been to Newark, Delaware, by the way.
You have?
Yes.
Well, Delaware State doesn't even...
have.
You'd be the only person I know.
I was in Delaware.
Why?
We were in Delaware.
Okay. Back to you.
Why was I in Delaware?
Yes.
LDS mission.
Oh, I was going to say.
It's near Philadelphia.
Okay, there you go. I thought you meant like you and your wife were like, let's get away to Newark, Delaware.
I want to get away.
It's beautiful
Have
this time of year.
Have you been to northern Delaware? Wilmington's beautiful this time of year.
All right. Okay. So fall camp now in the books for Utah, and they're on to game prep. Here's what Kyle Whittingham said about the depth chart, because it is officially set and it's ready to roll. You've got your starters listed. Do we actually have access to those, though? Do we see what? No. Okay, no. Okay. I'm just wondering if maybe he slipped up this year and handed the sheets out.
Coach, do you have the playbook, and can we see it?
Oh, they might see Mekhi Bernard on the sheet and then totally change their game plan. Jeez, man. Here's what he said about the depth chart, and Witt is about as excited as he usually is this time of year. His emotions cannot be contained.
We're in a good spot right now. We're coming out of fall camp with a lot of positives going on. We got the two deep completely set on both sides of the ball. It's a matter now of details and fine-tuning. These last, we got, 6 practices left before we line up and play. So it's all about the details from this point forward.
Is Isaac Wilson your starting quarterback this week, Coach? We'll talk about it at game time, all right?
Boy, that'd be something.
That'd be quite weird. That would be the worst. That'd be the worst news ever for Ute fan. Here's what he said, too, in terms of preparation, because it's not just about, this is a program that is, I would like to say set it and forget it. That's not what I'm going for. It's more like this. They have the system down so well. They make changes where they need to, because part of what Kyle Whittingham said yesterday, too, was that they made some changes to try to avoid. They had the worst luck last year with injuries. Now, you can say we're going to try X, Y, and Z to not have injuries, but these guys are flying around. It's really hard to, but they have had a massive reduction in injuries, and I think that's why you're able to have things like working on the small stuff, which is what he talked about as well.
Just precise alignments, precise techniques, just refinement of everything that we're doing. It's not any one thing. It's just everything continuing to get tighter and tighter as far as fundamentals and techniques and alignment and assignment.
Boy, think about how bad we were off last year. We knew Brant Keithy was going to be out. We had no idea that at this point last year that Mekhi Bernard would be out for the rest of the season. That, essentially, did he come back and play in the bowl game or no?
Mekhi did.
Yeah, he did.
Yes, he did.
But essentially gone for the full season. Lander Barton, of course, was out for the whole year. Junior Tafuna was a long injury to deal with. So many names, like Connor O'Toole, same thing. Lots of guys on this list that are your premier names of your program.
Yeah.
And this year they don't have to deal with all that. It must be. I mean, that is huge. And
no injury. Was there a significant injury in camp that we even had to discuss or talk about?
No. I mean, they wouldn't discuss them unless they were season ending. But
they lost Lavani Damuni in spring, and that is it. That's all.
Right.
Right? Has there been a key guy on the two deep that they have lost since then? I don't think so.
No.
Stark contrast to last year when guys got banged up.
Yeah, you could do all the science, you could do all the research too, and be like, well, we did X, Y, and Z, and this is what worked. But I think he kind of was like, from what I had heard yesterday, because I think I listened to, I think DJ and PK playing a chunk of it, and it was like, yeah, the way that they were able to reduce it, they don't. It's not one particular thing, but they did study some stuff. I love that, too. They're like, we're not going to give away the secret of not being injured. Thanks, Coach.
Secrets.
You know what it is? It's that soccer spray. You guys know what I'm talking about.
Hey, it's worked for centuries for soccer players.
They get them on the ground there.
I don't think a soccer player's ever had an injury.
What's hurting, Coach? I think my ankle's dislocated. Hold on. Shake it up. You good? Oh, yeah.
I'm better.
It's a miracle. Here's what he said also about The players are over it, too. And this is something we talked about with Sly yesterday. JJ's just like, these guys are over the camp slog because that's what it is.
They're over it. The media's over it. The fans over it. Let's play some football, right?
Yeah, it's exactly right. Here's what they said about wrapping camp up and how the team is excited to actually play somebody else.
Without a doubt, yeah, it's time to hit somebody else and to compete. And the offseason has become so voluminous now with all the player-run practices as well. I mean, they've played a lot of football just on their own, not played, but practiced a lot of football in the last, 8 months. And so they're definitely ready to line up and play somebody.
Okay. One of those guys that we're hoping to see a lot of this year, and frankly, part of that wideout group that we're hoping to see make an impact for this Utah team. Every year at this time, JJ, we're wondering if this is going to be the year of the wide receiver for Utah and what Andy Ludwig's got planned out. Money Parks, one of their weapons, talked about the offense, and Cam Rising obviously being the center of that and how good it is to have him back.
Just great having a general back there, having the offense running and clicking as the way we used to know it is. So it's a great feeling.
At this time last year, what were they doing? They were toggling between – because going into Florida, and you remember the Florida game plan, it was like, hey, they went up top to Money Parks, by the way. Was it the first play of the game or was it at least the first series? It must have been the first
play.
I think it was
boom.
Right over the top, 75 yards or 65 yards, whatever it was. And everyone was like, okay, the pig farmer's back. But then you start to see Nate Johnson getting rushes. He was being stifled, and then he gets and then he breaks out and gets a 28-yard touchdown run that game. And you're kind of like, all right, this two-headed monster thing might work. After the Baylor game, everybody changed their tune. They're like, this is awful.
Oh, man. That's some of the worst quarterback play. And if you look at the quarterback ratings, it's below 10 for each player.
Yeah, and
it was brutal.
I think that last year, the game, so I think it was before I want to say that Nate Johnson got the start after that, right? He got the start after the Baylor game because then they played Weber State the week after. They won 31-7, fine. Then they had that ridiculous 14-7 game against UCLA that was not great football to watch. But the game that really made everybody go, I don't think you got the right guy with Nate Johnson was that Oregon State game.
That's when everything went south.
Because then it had been 2 weeks in a row of a total of 2 touchdowns, and they needed to get that swagger back. The fact is that last year, we're going to have to find this. I forgot to freaking tell you about this. Caleb Williams talking about he has no idea. You got to find that. Caleb Williams, did you hear it?
Yeah, it was It was with Barstool. It was Big Cat.
It was Big Cat. And Big Cat was like, dude, if you play Utah at night, you're going to lose.
Yeah. You play him during the day. Big Cat's a gambler,
yes,
like our producer Jeremy here. And he bets against the Utes on day games, and he bets on the Utes at night games.
When it's night.
And it's that game, working out really well for him.
Right, in that game in particular they brought up, he was like, yeah, you started during the day, which is when they were up. They were up. And then it gets to nighttime and they end up losing. So that's what ended up in USC. They still beat USC down there at the Coliseum, even though and the Oregon game was a wake-up call. The Washington game was an absolute weird game.
That game made Bo Nix a lot of money.
Arizona, at that point, the Utes had just been totally spent. That's when the injuries totally caught up with them. At that point, that Arizona game was when everything hit the fan.
They did everything they could against Washington. It wasn't enough. More guys got hurt, and the team got sick, and that was just kind of – they weren't in the race anymore. They basically eliminated them, and then, the rest of the season played out as it did. But, yeah – it just shows you just how important that quarterback depth is.
Gosh,
you got to have good quarterback play.
Yes, and then they play in the bowl game. Do you want to know Bryson?
That bowl game was.
You want to know Bryson Barnes' stats during that bowl game?
What was his quarterback rating?
Oh, I don't know what the QBR is. Although Coach Witt loves it. 8 for 13 for 55 yards and 2 picks.
His QBR was 5.6.
Not good. So, and they lost.
By contrast, the starting quarterback for Northwestern, Ben Bryant, had a 74.8. So you see the difference.
Yeah. Not good. The Utes didn't even they had 211 yards of total offense that day in the bowl game. This is not how you want it to go.
If you're going to be a top program like Utah, you can't have that much of a fall off when somebody gets hurt. You can't.
But it also shows you too, you have this phenomenal defense and you're going to have a year where you go 8-4 in the regular season despite the fact that you have nothing going for you on offense. I mean, Jaquindon Jackson had a couple nice games.
He was dinged. He had a high ankle sprain. He was nursing all year.
They had, like I said, Nate Johnson transferred mid-year, right? Or like in that week right after the.
It was before the Colorado game.
That's right. So it's just a wild. It was a wild. I know you don't love to hear this, Utah fan, because it's not fun to think about 2023. You should feel phenomenal about the result and know also that this year there's no way you can go anywhere else but up. I mean, you're just going to do so much better this year if you've got Cam Rising and Brant Keithy. And, like, they're fighting over who the starting running back should be. When last year they're like, you want to do it? Remember this? I mean, it was
who
just
got
like,
left?
Jaquindon Jackson, get in here. Nate Johnson, we're going to run you a ton. You're going to be a quarterback, we're going to run you 14 times, right? So, okay, we have the any curse words in there? Okay. This is Caleb Williams. I just love that they brought it up and really – just listen to the tone in his voice. You can't see it, but there's a little bit of a 1,000-yard stare on Caleb Williams' face because he's bringing up some bad times with Utah. He was, what in his career, 0 for 3 against the Utes? Yes. Here's what it sounded like.
Utah. Can you tell the difference when it goes from day to night there? Because I have a theory that if Utah, like you tell me Utah's playing a game, you just tell me what time they're playing. Because if it's nighttime, I'm going to bet on Utah. If it's daytime, take the other team. And you had that one game where started in day,
ended at night,
and you guys were awesome in the first half.
We had 2 of them.
Yeah. So can you feel the difference in that crowd? And there's always smoke in the crowd.
That crowd was actually an awesome crowd. Love the stadium, love all of that, love the crowd. But man,
they're a tough football team.
I mean, I don't know how we didn't win any of them. It
got dark.
Yeah, I mean
that's literally all it was. It was
Pac-12 after dark. Yeah, after dark. Yeah, it was tough.
The 1,000-yard stare. Now, just play the very beginning of that when he goes Utah. You hear Caleb Williams go. Ugh. Listen to it.
Utah. Can you tell the difference?
Did you hear it?
Someone needs to take that clip.
Can you tell?
I might take that clip, and as soon as it gasps and go, you got to start playing Simon and Garfunkel's Hello Darkness, My Old Friend for the rest of the interview.
And you just like bring down the actual conversation.
That's the last thing that Caleb Williams wanted to talk about for the rest of his life.
My gosh. That was actually a really good crowd. Like, it is, I don't know how we didn't win one of those games. I mean, he's just flabbergasted. He's like, I'm Caleb freaking Williams, man. I beat everybody except for one dude.
No, you don't.
Except for one dude. Kyle Whittingham rolls up and goes, thank you very much. I'm in your head. You're welcome. So just imagine last year what it was like and how right now, before every season when everybody's undefeated, it feels great because you're like, hope springs eternal. It's amazing. But last year got dark real fast. And we were trying to convince ourselves throughout the entire season, JJ, that everything was okay. Partly because we were going, is this a week that
that's what we were still wondering.
Coach, has Cam been working out with the team? He's looking pretty good. Good.
How long can these guys hold things up until Cam gets back? One more week.
Yeah.
Remember the Oregon State game was like, oh boy, they really need Cam back.
Yeah.
And then he started practicing. I'm like, okay. They're still 6-1 at that point?
Yeah.
So if you look at last year, they were 6-1 after the USC game. And Bryson Barnes had the best game he'll ever play in his life. He was awesome. He really was against USC. They were 6-1 still, with all their goals still intact.
By the way, he had a better game against Washington, at least in that first half. They lose that game.
Yes.
They lose that game by 6 points, but man, he was beating up the Huskies by himself.
So we were still waiting. Okay, this is a good time. All right, they got to 6-1 without Cam. Bring Cam back, and it never happened. So you don't have to worry about that anymore.
Here's what Money Park said, because at the end of it, that wideout group is really good, and it's not just like, hey, a couple of guys here and there. It's like the whole unit, top to bottom, could be very, very dangerous to play against.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be a great. Doing, helping us spread the field out, helping us guys make more plays. So I'm looking forward for the wideout room to make big plays this year.
Okay, big plays from the wideout room. Is that saying, like, is he saying we're going to make big plays, or is he saying it hopefully, and then he was hoping that Andy Ludwig was in earshot? Yep, we're going to be ready to make a lot of plays as the wide receiver group.
You don't think there's been lobbying going on between those offensive players and their offensive coordinator to throw the ball more?
I think it actually helps that you have, one, your premier back right now, I think, who's like Mekhi Bernard, obviously. Yeah. He catches the ball so well out of the backfield that you already have a little bit of that attitude even with the guy who's your best running back or one of your best running backs. They throw the ball to Mekhi Bernard a ton. And guess what? He can be a game changer. And if he's that release valve, if he's that easy check down that'll get you 7 yards on a play that, doesn't get blown up but is defended well, whatever it might be. On the other plays, when the wideouts are getting loose, I mean, Dorian Singer, the odds of a 1,000-yard season, I don't know if, Utah wide receivers just don't have 1,000-yard seasons.
They're rare.
And so people asking for that, what you are going to get is, I think, the field spread around a lot. Cam Rising's going to throw for a lot of yards. I think you're going to see it spread out pretty darn good. They're going to travel 6 tight ends, my heavens. And they'll throw to every one of them, by the way.
They're going to be able to put out sets there where they have 4 wide receivers, and then your running back in the backfield can catch the ball as good as any of them. And then you're going to have, they've even talked about 14 personnel.
Yeah.
Meaning 4 tight ends.
4 tight ends and the 1 running back.
Think about that. There's just so much versatility that they can do because of the talent and skill they have on the offensive side of the football at all these positions that Andy Ludwig can do any number of things with different formations and different personnel. And if you're a defense, what do you prepare for? How do you prepare for 14 personnel but also have to prepare for they could go empty backfield. They can do all kinds of things. Yeah. They can go jumbo. They can go. There's so many things they can do with the personnel that they have, and so that's going to be really tough to defend for a lot of teams that play them and prepare for.
All right, we'll take a break.
Your home for the best coverage of the Jazz, Utes, and Cougars is right here on The Zone. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. It is JJ and Alex. Happy to have you along with us on the program here. Last segment, we were listening to a bunch of sound from Kyle Whittingham and some from Money Parks, wide out for the Utes. And fall camp has made way for actual game prep, which is the space that, of course, Coach Whittingham wants to live in with his guys, where it's like actual prepping. These guys are so sick of being in camp, and so it's a really cool thing to be able to actually get to the point now where we are in game prep mode. I think BYU's camp shut down yesterday. Final day of camp was yesterday, I think. So correct. Everybody's in full game prep mode across the state, and that means we are that much closer to college football in the state of Utah. By the way, you can nominate your youth sports volunteer that you know for the Hercules Hero of the Week. We've been getting awesome nominations, okay? In about an hour, we're going to roll out this week's winner of the Hercules Hero of the Week. And you can do what the nominator did this week. That nomination came in. We've got a winner, and it's somebody who goes the extra mile for the youth sports in their neighborhood. And that's exactly what this story is going to be, and we'll roll that out next hour. What do you get after you submit that nomination? Go to KSLSports.com/contest. That's KSLSports.com/contest. And the person you nominate ends up winning a $50 gift card to Hercules or from Hercules Credit Union, and then $200 to use with Beehive Meals. So $250, not too shabby, to honor those people who just fly under the radar with the Hercules Hero of the Week. KSLSports.com/contest. Okay, from the Hawaii football breaking news desk, Jeremy, our producer, found something out about this Delaware State Hawaii game that I am on pins and freaking needles about, man. What do you have?
There's a couple things.
Oh, boy.
You know there's a hurricane en route, so that's a problem. Weather.
We get hurricanes over there?
Apparently.
What?
Are they considered
in Delaware or in Hawaii?
Hawaii.
It's actually a good question.
There are hurricanes in Hawaii?
Is it a typhoon over there? Is it considered a typhoon if it's in the Pacific? I don't know how this works.
USA Today says hurricane.
Yeah, they're lying.
I trust them.
Okay.
So, I saw a photo on Twitter.
What do you have?
Players got about 7 hours ago, arrived in Hawaii.
Nice.
Practicing. However, some players' flights got bumped. They're not sure how many players are coming later.
That's what you get. That's what you get. You take the Southwest flight connector out of California. I don't dog it because I've done it. We have flown Southwest to Hawaii. They do that. That's how you take your golf clubs with you. Free bags.
Oh,
right?
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see how many players make it.
I would love to be like, well, we're missing Craig, of course. He's still on the flight right now. I think they're landing. He might be here for halftime. Like, I love every bit of this story because it's a freaking disaster.
He's on the Big Island. He got on the wrong plane.
Whoops. I can get you to Maui. Well, that's not going to help. Here's the other thing. Where are they playing this game? It's not Aloha Stadium, is it?
Oh, that's been torn down.
No.
It's TC Chang Complex. It holds like 10,000, 15,000 people.
When did they tear down the Aloha Bowl?
A couple years ago. There's been issues like it's...
No, it's been condemned for a while. They used to have that swap meet there every week.
I think this is the third season. They still might be here for like 25, 26.
Well, we were out there in 22 maybe, and it was still up, but it looked like it was ready for demo.
Yeah, they haven't played there in a while. It's like Northwestern with their portable stadium on the water.
Yes. Disgusting. But, it's hard to keep stadiums up when you're surrounded by seawater. A lot of corrosion going on, right?
By the way,
since
we're on this science kick, direct hurricane landfalls have never been recorded on the Big Island, Maui, Lanai, Molokai, or Oahu.
Wow. We could be watching a first?
Listen to us talk about the weather.
Need to get our expert on later for this.
The Blue Hens are dealing with weather. They're dealing with airplane situations.
I hope Kevin's not listening. He's going to be so mad at me.
Oh.
I'm letting him down right now. This is bad weather talk.
I want him to just clear up if hurricanes can even happen in the Pacific. I thought those were all typhoons over there.
They can, but that happens more in the eastern tropical Pacific
that's what I'm
than
saying.
The central where Hawaii is located.
Look at you on the hurricane Wikipedia page.
That's all I'm doing right now is reading what the screen says on it right now.
So I have a son named Harvey, and when Hurricane Harvey made landfall and just absolutely devastated like Houston and part of Florida, and all the headlines read, Harvey crushes the South. I was like, Harvey, don't be excited about this, but this headline has your name in it.
For a second, I was going to say you named your son after a hurricane.
No.
That could be kind of sick.
No, because every once in a while your name will pop up on the hurricane naming. All right, so here's what we got. College basketball coaches say that BYU has one of the best NIL situations in the country. So some anonymous coaches were asked if they had to make a list of 3, who are the teams that are #winning. That's a Charlie Sheen reference, right? hashtag winning the NIL situation. 30% of the ballots, and only Arkansas and Kansas ranked higher in terms of an NIL edge. Perception is reality. JJ, we've been in this business long enough to know that, if the other coaches feel it, and we have felt it's hard because when we're in the market, it's hard for us. We get a little bit of a myopic view. We go, oh, yeah, BYU's doing awesome down there. Oh, KYU, man, they're figuring it out. Oh, you know what we're going to have to do? We're going to have to get a download from Mitch Harper maybe one of these days about, because I think they had a little meet and greet with the media with Kevin Young down at Riverside today on Provo. Shaking hands, kissing babies, kissing basketballs. And guess what? When everybody in the country sees what you're doing, BYU, and the reason that it really pops up, JJ, is because of the recruits that they now have to battle BYU for, which they've never really had to do in the past,
Which is probably blowing the minds of people at these schools. Like, we're battling who for this recruit? Wait, AJ DeBansa, his last visit is where?
To Provo.
They've got to be going out of their minds. You've got to be kidding me. What?
Just tell them about how weird the honor code is. That'll get them. It's like, no.
Duke's got to compete with BYU for AJ DeBansa?
Yeah, man.
I don't
Millions
think
of
Duke
dollars.
was in his top whatever. Were they?
Oh, no, it was North Carolina. I think of all the schools, it was Kansas, Kansas State, North Carolina.
On this list, I'm a little deeper in this list because I want you to get perspective on just how impressive this is that BYU is number 3 on this list. So,
yeah, no dude.
They're ahead of Kentucky, where Mark Pope just went.
Sorry, Mark Pope.
BYU's 30.6%.
Rise and shout, the Cougars around.
Oh, yeah.
We all know how much Sly loves BYU football, BYU basketball.
I actually love the promise of BYU basketball.
So
he actually
Sly's
does love
onto
it.
something here
Okay.
because I'm looking at this list, and here's these programs. Alabama was just in the Elite Eight, right? Mm-hmm. That's a really good program. Louisville, Baylor, all below BYU. Indiana below BYU. Texas Tech.
Oh, boy. Here's where the big ones come.
Duke, UConn, North Carolina.
Oh, my gosh. Texas, Ohio State, Memphis, Tennessee. These are
These
programs.
are the Blue Bloods.
These are programs that never lose to BYU in anything basketball related.
And according to this poll, BYU has the third best NIL situation in the country, ahead of all of those blue blood schools.
So when they say NIL situation, are they just talking about like
how much money?
Ryan Smith can?
How much money can be
program?
offered to these players to get them to come to entice them? Which is what it's all about. What these kids are human beings, and they have a chance to set up their families with this before they even get to the NBA. And the NBA is not always promised. What if they don't work out in the NBA and they don't get past that they don't get that rookie extension? Or whatever it might be.
Okay, here's how the question was
There's a lot
asked.
of money to be made here.
So here's how the question was.
7 figures for some of these kids.
And it's going to be, it is life-changing money. Going to BYU for A.J. DeBanza would be life-changing money that he's also going to get in the NBA.
For sure. That's different.
But 7 figures to somebody is not, that is not, you can't take that lightly. It changes the entire, how the family lives. It changes everything. And by the way, it will prep him for the world of Supermax contracts and figuring out that whole negotiation game. By the way, just a little suggestion, AJ DeBanza. Your dad shouldn't be he can be your agent now when you're trying to find a school. I would suggest you I think the NBA makes you have to have like these financially, like either a certified financial planner or somebody
AJ better have a Roth IRA.
You can't get,
by the time he enrolls
do
in
this.
school.
Don't have dad do this, all right?
Take care of that money.
Don't have Don King do this, and don't have
Don King.
Your dad do this. Is Don King still with us? No, he's not. I'm pretty sure he's dead. All right. The question was asked, though, JJ. Here's the actual question.
Oh, Alex.
No. Is he 90?
Oh, Alex. Trying to kill off Don King. You did it again.
How is he still alive?
He has all that money.
He's 93 years old.
He can buy his way to happiness with all that Mike Tyson money.
Don King, born in 1931, is still alive,
Wow.
93 years old. You are trying to kill Don King.
He probably deserves it. Yeah?
You did it again. He is still with us.
All right. Yeah. Talk about great human beings.
Laughing all the way to the
Good job.
bank. Yeah, not a good person.
No. The question was asked, though, on that survey like this. So here's what they had to take into account. Tell us which schools you believe have the best NIL situation based off of what you encounter and what you hear on the recruiting trail. So the whispers of BYU's ability to recruit and to get to guys and to say, hey, we're going to make an offer to you. An offer to somebody who we never would have offered before. The embracing of the one and done. Now, you got to be careful. The balance of the one and done versus having kind of long-term veteran leadership and all that stuff, because that still is what BYU needs to do. You can't go full Calipari on this thing and just do the one and done situation until the end of time, because it doesn't build a lasting situation. Everybody knows who Kentucky is, but they also know that they massively underperformed compared to what they could have done because they were so focused on getting those one and done guys, and the one and done guys were just so focused on getting in the NBA. So it's just a crazy world that we live in now. All right.
This is interesting.
Give me some more.
Other programs that received at least one vote. Most of them are not going to surprise you, like Arizona, Florida, Georgetown, Ole Miss, Oregon, Villanova, Washington. How about McNeese State? I don't understand. Will Wade is their coach.
Now, is that John Morant's old school?
No, that's Murray State.
Oh, that's right.
I can't name one basketball.
No, there's probably some. Come on. Give some credit to whatever their mascot is. Come on. All right, so we've got a would you rather around the corner.
Hold on.
Oh, you've got another one?
No, McNeese State.
Yes.
Let's have a 4-star, so basketball.
They got a 4-star recruit? So that's how you get that one 4-star recruit, and so then it's like...
Well, we all know about Will Wade. Like, he was part of that whole scandal at LSU with Ben Simmons, right?
Okay.
Joe Durmore is the most famous McNeese State basketball player of all time.
Not bad.
That's about it.
Isn't Joe Dumars now the VP of business operations for the league, for the NBA?
He's
something like that.
Role,
he's basically like one of Adam Silver's right-hand man. Right?
He's the executive vice
henchman?
president and head of basketball operations of the NBA.
See? Look at that. All right. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We have a Would You Rather right around the corner. Stay with us on the program. We've got tons going on right here, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
As JJ and Alex ask, would you rather?
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. All right, I'll bite. Jeremy says he has more Delaware State, Hawaii stories. An update to the intriguing story of the, by the way, it's a 10.5-hour flight. We figured this out. It's only 7.5 hours for you to fly from Atlanta to Dublin, Ireland, which is what the Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
We got two musics going on here. What's going on here? Double the music, double the pleasure, double your fun.
Sorry.
Double mint gum. So, Delaware State, a 10.5-hour, almost 11-hour flight. 3 hours more than you flying from Atlanta to Dublin for your game in Ireland.
Nuts.
No matter. The Blue Hens are definitely having a problem because they can't get some of their players out. Is this an update? Are all the players going to be at the game?
No, it's not that.
Oh, okay.
If you want to go to the game, I think this is a scheduled promotional tweet. 10.5-hour flight, correct?
Yes.
Their stadium holds not many people. Hawaii football is supposed to be meh. You can go for $10.50.
Oh.
So if you can get there.
So they're doing it for the 10.5-hour flight. They're honoring the
They need to
Delaware.
upgrade. They need to make it more expensive now because the
No, I was
flight's
going to say,
20-some hours.
make it like a 17-hour, and you have to have a layover. You have to sleep in one of in Portal X, before you can enter the stadium, just to make it the full experience.
You have to miss a 2-minute warning because change spots.
I hope guys don't make it to the game and then show up at halftime throwing their gear on. Not that I don't wish that upon them. I hope Delaware is being compensated well, though.
I saw how much it was.
How much?
Not as much as you think. I think it's barely $200,000.
No, I read that you mean that they're getting paid to go there and
I think
play?
that's what I saw.
I think the $200,000 was just for
Travel?
the travel accommodations.
Okay, that'd be
they made some crazy travel concession for
hope
them
so.
because they had to take a 3-hour freaking bus ride from Newark, Delaware. JJ's.
We're in Delaware.
And then, so a 3-hour drive to JFK Airport. That was the kicker. They missed the flight because of how bad of planning they did with the 3-hour bus ride with those
Just because they
players.
wanted the direct flight from New York.
Yep.
Wow. By the way, Hawaii's football stadium, their new one,
Yeah, what's it called?
capacity, 15,000
Hey,
fans.
there you go. That's probably about right. How many times did you watch games at the Aloha Bowl, even big ones?
Remember back in the day, back in the WAC glory
Oh,
years
yeah.
of the 80s when
Oh,
Hawaii
yeah.
was so good?
Oh, they were scary. Every week, it didn't matter who it was a
They were
freaking
the
trap.
biggest thorn in BYU's side in the WAC days.
And, well, not just that. How about when they were in the Mountain West and it was Gary Croton trying to have the perfect season in 2001 and Hawaii hangs 70 on him,
Yeah.
right? Bad
Trips to the islands.
No, it is 180,000 total.
No!
That's what it says
Delaware,
here.
you're worth more than this.
Should be about $1 million, right?
It's not even Delaware. It's Delaware State.
Oh,
Delaware
Alex,
State, listen. Mama didn't raise no fool. You're worth more. Come on, Kings.
Delaware State, located in Dover, Delaware.
You been there?
Didn't make it that far.
Okay,
So.
all right. So there
Actually,
you go.
no, I have. I have been.
You have been to Dover.
Yes, I've
All
been
right.
to Dover.
Okay. Well, good for you. I'm pissed for
Yeah,
Delaware
I
State.
that's something to brag about. Huh?
I hope that Hawaii freaking throws them a bone.
I hope Delaware State beats them.
Oh my gosh, no chance. The amount of travel that they had to go through just to be able to get there, insane. All right.
There is a non-participant clause or if you don't, non-appearance fee.
They might have to invoke it.
$750,000.
So if Delaware State doesn't show up to play, they're going to have to be in debt to Hawaii? Hawaii. I'm telling you.
All because of a bus.
This is a
delay.
racket. This is a racket. Delaware State, come on, Kings. You're worth more than this. Don't let Hawaii split the check with you. On this first date, make Hawaii pay for the whole thing. They want to go all the way. Come on. You don't show up for our date. You have to pay me $750,000. Get out of here. Hawaii, you stink. All right? All right. Let me see here. Would you rather get fired from your pro or college coaching job but get a huge buyout? Or have a pretty nice, decent career making some decent money at the pro career or at the college career level? Like, I'm talking about Jimbo Fisher sitting at home right now. Is he working anywhere? No. Jimbo Fisher on his ranch in, I don't know, I hope he's not anywhere near College Station, be run out of town. So wherever Jimbo Fisher is, because I think the buyout was what, 75 million. But over that contract, he made more than 100. And so, would you rather have that, JJ, or and just walk and just go off into the sunset, or make a quarter of that but a long career?
I want the long career. I want to be able, because Jimbo's now a joke, right? Jimbo's won a national championship at Florida State.
Listen,
he's now a punchline because of how this went.
Is he? Or is the joke on us because he gets $75 million and doesn't have to do one more bit of coaching ever or recruiting?
You get to a certain point where the money,
yeah, it doesn't matter.
How much money do you really need? If you have a very comfortable salary like that and you can be successful, that's ideal because you want to take pride in what you do and what your legacy is. Jimbo's legacy is just taking a massive buyout. No one's going to remember the 2000 was it 13? Which year was it? 2012, 2000 when Jameis won the title at Florida State. No one's going to remember or talk about that with Jimbo.
Okay. How about this? I don't know why this isn't a thing either, because I was looking to see because the University of Anchorage, Alaska they have football, I'm pretty sure. They at least have basketball. So would you rather play for the Seawolves or would you rather play for the Rainbow Warriors? They're not the Rainbow Warriors anymore, are they? Just the Warriors? I like the Rainbow Warriors better. But go ahead. Play hoops and start at the University of Alaska Anchorage.
Play hoops in Alaska or play football in Hawaii.
Or you ride the bench at formerly Aloha Stadium for the Rainbow Warriors.
I'm going to play hoops in Alaska.
Yeah, man. Let's go.
There are no college football programs in Alaska, which is crazy,
dumb.
Right? But they do have college basketball.
Could you imagine trying to ask those guys? By the way, how is it that Alaska Anchorage, the University of Alaska Anchorage, does not play Hawaii every year in basketball? They need to. They need to take the two newest states of our union need to play each other every year. Okay?
I don't think the Division II basketball budgets are very high.
You take a boat. You start in June.
Take a boat in January?
You start in June.
Are you going to have Titanic 2 out in the Pacific? What are you trying to do here? Are you trying to kill off the Alaska Anchorage basketball team?
Why do you
hate the Seawolves so much?
The Seawolves. Listen, I've seen them play basketball games on aircraft carriers, okay? They can practice on a boat, all right? And then they get to their destination, they play a couple games, and then they move right on out again. All right?
Do you know what the Alaska Fairbanks mascot is?
Oh, probably a moose of some sort.
The Alaska Nanooks.
Nanook. Now that's what is that? Indigenous? Are those the indigenous people?
It's an indigenous tribe, yeah.
All right. My goodness. We got to have Vidal bail us out on this. We're going to take a break, but before we do, let's get out to the warehouse and Vidal.
Oh, sorry. No, I got to clear this up.
What is it? What is it?
It's an Inuit word for polar bear. I'm so sorry.
Still has that. Still had the native flair to it, though. See, I like that kind of stuff. All right. Vidal joining us from the warehouse.
Sorry,
no,
sorry,
it's
Vidal.
okay.
We had to clear that up.
We needed to know what a Nanook was.
It's a polar bear.
It's all good.
Hey, Vidal, listen, you rolled out some awesome deals on some furniture last time, but we're talking now about the one that is going to change people's lives, and that is the mattress that they're sleeping on right now is robbing them of actual rest. And you guys can save the day with an adjustable bed. Tell us a little bit about the adjustable bed and how people need to get into it. Let's go.
Of course. Let's move into that really, really good deal. Let's call it the deal of the day, guys. So let's start early with the deal of the day. Now, on this one, it's going to be a queen size adjustable. There's a lot of people out there that still like to be really close to each other and still want the the queen size, and that's totally okay. But now let's make it better with an adjustable base. Now, this mattress right here that I'm about to tell you, we had it a couple of deals ago. We had it for $14.99 for the mattress only, and this is a mattress that you're gonna like. An IntelliBed G3. This is the one that you have at home. Am I correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know which one JJ has, but we're both IntelliBed.
I got a queen.
Okay, but we're both IntelliBed guys. I know I have the G3. I don't know if that's what JJ has, but I like to think that that mine's classier. So yes, I have the G3 for sure.
Well,
G3
we do
sounds
have
like it's
the
got an
G3.
engine in it.
It does. No, I'm telling you, it changed my whole sleeping situation because it's a phenomenal bed.
So we do have the G3 available in a queen size, okay? Now, when we had it on sale, it was for $14.99, okay? Now, we got a huge truck full of queen size adjustable bases. Now, this one has head up, foot up, zero gravity buttons. This is the best thing. These are not buttons anymore. This is actually a touchscreen controller. This is amazing. It looks very, very luxury. Okay, on this one, it's going to have all the bells and whistles except with the massage. There's a lot of people out there that they're not so comfortable with the massage. Not a problem. Head up, foot up, adjustable zero gravity, LED lights on the bottom, US port charges. The base alone retails for $3,500. Plus the regular retail mattress on this one is $6,000. Now, we had it on sale a couple of deals ago for $14.99. That's about $4,000 to $5,000, say, anywhere else. Cheapest you're going to find anywhere else. I have the exact same thing, the quality that nobody else is going to give you for $19.99. $19.99. Boom. I hope Tom is not listening to me right now because I'm going to get in trouble.
Did you say
$19.99?
LED lights?
All of it, man.
LED lights.
LED lights.
That's fancy.
USB port charges.
Wow.
I mean, you got a touchscreen controller. That controller by itself is $300 to replace. We're not going to charge you for that. Nowhere even close to that price. $19.99. That's not even the price of the base by itself somewhere else. I'm blowing up the store. We're blowing up the store. Boom, boom, boom. There you go.
Okay, boom prices at the warehouse. Let me tell you where it is. 1825 South, 300 West. Get Vidal to give you those deals right there in person. He's going to make a deal with you. Go in. And look, go around the store, go in the warehouse part. I mean, it is the warehouse, a big old warehouse full of a lot of furniture they want to be able to get to you. You just go down 3rd West here in Salt Lake City, 1825 South and 3rd West. It's across from the Costco, just east of the Costco in Salt Lake and just north of Sam's Club. So go check it out for yourself, 1825 South, 300 West. It is the boom deals at the warehouse. When we come back, our own Mitch Harper is going to join us. We had some homework for him to do. We had some homework for Jeremy, our producer, to do because real football was – I was getting desperate, JJ, and because College Football 25 came around, we, of course, asked Mitch Harper and our producer, Jeremy, two guys who apparently have nothing else going on in their lives, okay? So they have the PS5? You got the PS5? Mitch, I think, has the PS5, and they both played the college football simulation of BYU versus Southern Illinois. And what we did was we proposed how they're going to have the quarterbacks line up, how they're going to work it. All right, and we'll have some results for you. We have screenshots. We have results. We're going to do it. Stay right here, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Take the Zone with you wherever you go. Download the It's time to get the inside info on BYU with Cougar Insider Mitch Harper of KSLSports.com on 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back. It is JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone, the man who needs no introduction, and yet got his own custom introduction. Mitch Harper, our BYU insider for KSLSports.com. That sounded pretty good, Mitch, right?
I love that. Thanks, guys. The imaging was awesome. I loved it. Thank you.
Phenomenal. Well, we wanted to dress it up a little bit, so we got a lot going on.
Rocking into the season.
First of all, we were doing the show on Tuesday, I think, when this came through, but I was like, I've got to ask Mitch because he's got the game. Jeremy, our producer's got the game. Let's have a full simulation based off of BYU not knowing who the starting quarterback is going to be going into Southern Illinois. Now, they might, but swapping quarters is what we wanted to go with. So you go one with Gary Bohannon, one with Jake Retzlaff, and then one with Gary, and then one with Jake again. And I will say I was very underwhelmed by the screenshots. Is it because you're not very good at the game, Mitch? Because these were both very, very close.
Well, I got a full disclosure. I was that degenerate that just watched it. I literally just watched the game play out. So 2 computer teams.
Wow.
No hand in the fight. I was screenshotting. I was analyzing it. I'm like, and I tailored the depth chart to as closest to what I envisioned it being against week 1. I had ETN at left tackle.
Nice.
He's right guard in the game. So Ben Bywater, I took him out. So all of that, I switched it all. So the video game says a close game, 42-39 BYU over Southern Illinois.
Hey, you know what I take away from that, though? 42 points in the first game with this BYU offense. Now, how did digital Jake Retzlaff do compared to digital Gary Bohannon?
Jake Retzlaff showed it honestly was a kind of a microcosm of fall camp where you saw some big plays from Bohannon, but then maybe the biggest plays were from Retzlaff, but then the worst plays were also from Retzlaff. Retzlaff was the only one that had touchdown passes, and then he also had an interception too, whereas Bohannon just kind of stayed the course. He didn't have many big passes through the air. His average was about 8 yards per completion, whereas Retzlaff had 14 yards per completion. It was interesting. And
listen to what we're doing. Listen to what we're doing.
Let me just say, Mitch.
It's like geeking out on it, but look, it's been 11 years. It's been 11 years, so it's like when you assigned me this task, I was like, yes, I'm all in.
I was like putting one of my kids to bed, and I'm getting these screenshots, and I could not get enough of it. I'm like sitting there, and I'm like, and my kid's like, "What is this?" I'm like, quiet. I've got a fake BYU and Southern Illinois game. I've got to focus on here, and I'm like, so 42-39, but also in the shorter simulated game that you had, I think BYU only won like 16-7 or 16-10 or something like that. Why are the Salukis so dang good in this game?
Yeah. In the 5-minute quarters, BYU won 16-7. But I don't know. I downloaded one of the Saluki teams that was created by the guy that created the entire Big Sky in the Missouri Valley, and it was like almost the attention to detail was pretty impressive. But they didn't have the exact roster to a T, but still, the Salukis had a pretty good offense, at least according to the video game, the creators that made these rosters.
Just tell me it was a better experience watching that than watching the BYU Sam Houston game last year.
Oh, absolutely. It was
okay.
It was
that'll give
better.
BYU fans some promise here, something to be excited
honestly,
about.
I think BYU fans could honestly come away with a win that's, maybe they're giving up a few points to Southern Illinois, because I think they've almost grown numb from the defensive side of things. Like, yes, I think everyone's expecting improved play from the defense. I know I am, and I think the defense should be much improved, but I don't think it would surprise any BYU fan if they gave up 21, 28 points, but they would love to see, 45, 50 points from the offense, because that was few and far between. And it really, in the Kalani Sitake era, there's just not many big offensive explosion games, under Kalani. It just hasn't. And that's been with NFL QBs even. There's many times with Jaron Hall where you felt like he's holding back a little bit. He's not being as aggressive as he could be. Other than the 2020 season, it's a lot of, 27, 24, 24-17 type games. That's kind of the world they've lived in. I think they would love to see an offensive outburst from this team in Week 1 against Southern Illinois,
even against an FCS opponent, for sure.
Yeah, listen, we've seen seasons start slow, and it usually doesn't bode well for BYU when they have a slow start against a very, very lesser opponent. And so when you see that they're lining up here, and you don't have a starter, at least that we're aware of, do you think it would be wise to just say that is your guy? JJ and I have had this discussion before, but to just say, hey, look, we're going with him, and we're going to put our faith in him till we absolutely get run out of the building if it's not working out. And if the guy that they do pick ends up being, let's say it's Jake Retzlaff or let's say Gary Bohannon, are they going to stick with those guys for very long, or are they going to be on a short leash?
I think they're going to be on a short leash. They have to be. This season's critical for Aaron Roderick, and I think to a lesser extent Kalani Sitake. But even Kalani, if it's a losing season, there's going to have to be a tough decision from Tom Holmoe. And that's the thing. Like he will have to make a decision on what the direction of the program is going forward. Yes, Kalani's under contract, but still, you can't just be content, because Tom Holmoe himself yesterday at Education Week said year one was about a good first impression for the whole athletic department. Year two in the Big 12 is living up to the standard. And the standard at BYU football is winning. I mean, he noted, last 50 years, they're ninth in wins in college football. So the standard is winning. And that standard doesn't just go by the wayside because you're in a 16-team Big 12 that's, it's Power 4, but you gotta win. So, so I think there's got to be a short leash. And to just give full reign to Retzlaff or Bohannon week after week, even if they're struggling, they don't have that luxury, because neither one of these guys have the resume or the accolades to just say, like, the weight of the program is on their shoulders. They have to just boom or bust with these guys because they're the star players. And again, I just think that's what's so fascinating about this battle is that you've got a quarterback unit where no one is. If you lost that player, it's a PR disaster for this coaching staff. Like, they're just kind of journeyman guys, and you're hoping that one of them hits and becomes a thing for this team to get some respectability, to form an identity offensively, because I don't know what that identity is right now for this program as they go into year two in the Big 12. And it's just unfortunate for BYU because they're dealing with this, because you're in a world now where it's a 12-team playoff. You're chasing that. And if you win this league, you could go to the playoff. And that's what BYU has dreamed of for so long. And they just felt like they weren't ready for this moment. Now they got to find a way to be ready and to compete and be as competitive as they can in one of the toughest schedules in the conference.
Before we get into the wrapping up fall camp, looking ahead to the game and other things, I kind of want to stick to the quarterback conversation, but go big picture and moving forward. Whoever wins this job, I hope they do well, and obviously hope BYU does well, but this doesn't feel like you can do this every year, right? You had the Keaton Slovis thing last year, now this. What's the long-term solution at quarterback for BYU? How can they do this differently so that we don't have these kind of battles and things where you're right, you just try to kind of piece it together, right? Would you agree is that this is kind of piecing it together for one season, trying to figure out what the next season is? You look around and you see other programs have better long-term things, even in today's climate where you have players bouncing around. But what can BYU do to have more stability at that position in that room of a guy that could be here for a year or two or three, instead of just knowing you got a one-year battle here of guys that have bounced around?
They need to get some studs in the high school ranks, guys that are desired, heralded quarterbacks from the prep scene. And that's not always a guarantee. They had Jacob Conover a few years back, and he didn't work out at all, to the point where, Aaron Roderick wanted to play a
Uh-oh.
So,
okay, go ahead.
That Notre Dame game in 2022, remember? So that moves out, and you look long term. You got Helaman Kasuga from Corner Canyon.
Hold on, Mitch. We're gonna call you back. You just went into a fairyland of robots. So we're gonna have Jeremy call you back. We'll get you with a better connection here.
Get him reconnect. I want to hear his answer to that.
He was going.
Yeah, I was waiting. He's thought about this.
Starting to say some names, and everyone's going, "Oh."
This is what BYU fans want to know, because I think that this quarterback battle is important because they need a good starter this year. But and it just doesn't feel like it should be at BYU. That feels like you should have more certainty and more stability at that position moving forward. And I understand, like, things don't work out with recruiting or whatever, and you do the best you can. But and one of these two guys may be terrific, but even if Gary's great, if Gary Bohannon wins the job and he's great, he's gone, right?
Reset the question, and we'll let Mitch go from the top again. So what was the question?
Yeah, Mitch, I'll sum it up in like 5 seconds instead of the 50 that I took to ask the question earlier. What does BYU have to do with their quarterback room to improve it long term so they don't have guys that are just coming in here for a year?
They need to get high school recruits, some heralded high-level blue-chip high school talent. They did get Jacob Conover a few years back, and that didn't work out. They don't always live up to it. But the thing is that they have missed out on that. And you look at the couple cycles, Casalga from Corner Canyon in 2025, 2026, Ryder Lyons. He's viewed as one of the number 5-star recruit, LDS kid out of Folsom, California. You got to get prospects like that to come in and really build up the pipeline. And then it's like, some of the best prospects in the country are competing in your quarterback room. And the thing is that it might sound crazy, but BYU football has done that at the quarterback position. It's a position that has gotten the best quarterbacks in the land in the past, and they've competed and they've been at BYU. Some of them have bust, others have been outstanding. And you got to get coveted prospects that have a lot of offers, and you're winning those recruiting battles at that position. Jaron Hall was someone, he wanted BYU. He might be a little bit of exception, but Zach Wilson had Iowa. He had Oregon State, Syracuse. I mean, not the blue chip programs, but he had some legit opportunities. Taysom Hill, Stanford, then he comes back after his mission. But they had prospects that they've gotten, and they've got them when they were young too. Transfer quarterbacks at the grad transfer scene, that is not the route to go. If you're going to get a transfer in the portal at the quarterback position, you want them to be an underclassman. You look at the history of the Heisman winners, 5 of the last 7 years it's been transfer quarterbacks. Those guys transferred after they were, an underclassman where they just maybe lost out on the job, and then they're a sophomore at their second stop, and then they really start to take steam and become something special. So going for the one-year guys, it doesn't work. And then, Jake Retzlaff, I think that he's a guy that they view as, a QB1 potential. I mean, they brought him in last year with the hopes of developing into a QB1, and that's why, his momentum that he had closing out fall camp, I thought was noteworthy because, midway through fall camp, I really felt like things were trending for Gary Bohannon, but Retzlaff, he closed out camp strong, and it just feels like things are trending for him too. I mean, this is really, you could go either quarterback, and today's the first practice of game prep for Southern Illinois. They're going to be they're on the practice field right now, I believe. And, could this be the day where it ultimately gets decided? I don't know if you need this random Thursday game prep practice to ultimately decide it, but, it's time to get that decision out there and move forward and kind of rally around that guy. But long term, they need to really start to hit it out of the park and get some high school heralded, high-profile 4- and 5-star prospects in the future.
Mitch, the coaches obviously would know this answer more than any of us would, but were they willing to share this type of an answer too, I guess, and during the media observations that you and Matt would have as well? But was there a person that just blew everyone's minds, like in terms of the coming out of nowhere factor or the improvement factor, or somebody whose body has changed, who's just like absolutely like, is it the Keanu Hill type thing where you change positions and then suddenly you're playing tight end and you got to turn that corner? Was there somebody who came up and continues to come up for the coaches of having a phenomenal camp?
Isaiah Glasgow is one that comes to mind, linebacker. He's kind of a unique body, 6'5", and Justin Ennis said he could be one of the best athletes he's ever coached. And Justin Ennis coached some really good defensive players over his coaching career. Glasgow is intriguing. He's dealt with injuries, but thought he had a really strong camp. I also thought that Caleb Etienne, and it's going to be prove it in the games for Etienne because everyone thought he was the part last year too in fall camp. I mean, I was all into. I thought this guy's going to be plug and play. He's going to take off and be great for BYU. Clearly, right tackle, it didn't work. Now he's going back to the left tackle spot where he started 13 games at Oklahoma State. Is that the only thing that needs fixed? I mean, it was a lot more than that just watching the games for Etienne. But he dropped 20 pounds. He looks a lot better. The alignment between him and TJ Woods, it's just his messaging from Woods to Etienne, just as Etienne said, it just works better. He understands it better, and he feels like there's going to be a lot more success on the offensive line for him, and he feels like he's at the spot he needs to be at left tackle. So I thought he had a really good camp. and I also would say too, some of the safeties and in the corners too. I was really impressed with Maury Bamba. I talked about him going into day one of fall camp as being someone that'll be a name, and sure enough, he was running a lot with the first team defense. I would still expect Mark Collins, the Weber State transfer, is going to be that first cornerback alongside Jacob Robinson. But just because Mark Collins, the only knock on him is he's working his way back from the ACL that he suffered last year. But you're seeing Collins in practice, and he's looking much improved. But Bamba, it's clicking for him. And he, to me, if you want to throw, I'd say he's got NFL potential. Just his measurables, all the cliches with him, he's got it. Now he's understanding the scheme, what it takes to be a good cornerback. He was blanketing BYU's best receivers at times during media observation. I was really impressed with Maury Bamba, and then some of the safeties. I was really impressed with Talon Alfrey, who just quietly has been running with the first team defense consistently. Tommy Parasis, a freshman from Basha High School in Arizona. So there's a guys, but I will say that this team needs to establish superstars who are going to be those key guys that just every week are the stars that carry this team, and what's happening on film, and they're still going to produce at the highest level. So you got a scouting report on, but they still just deliver. That's a big question for me on this BYU team: is who are the stars that week in, week out you can count on, and you hope for BYU's sake that they're going to get those answers starting in week one.
Well, outside of quarterback, what is your biggest question mark or concern now that fall camp's wrapped up?
Defensive tackle. That position to me, I like the starters, Mangelson and John Nelson. I think they're going to be pretty solid, but I have some real questions about the depth. We've heard a lot about David Latu, a junior college All-American at Snow College, but I just haven't seen enough in practices. And look, maybe he's more just he'll show up in games. Even a guy like Kairos Tonga wasn't always the greatest in a practice setting, but you get him in a game, and every couple plays he was brilliant. He was outstanding. So you got to see more of that. I just think that position's really thin. And if you're going to have a physical schedule, the opposition they're going to face, it's a tough schedule. I mean, just the dynamics, the logistics of it, and it's one of these schedules too where you don't win the PR battle if you lose it, where people are just going to give you the benefit of the doubt and say, oh yeah, everyone loses to SMU. No, on the surface level, the casual fan go, you lost to SMU? They still think of SMU just as this afterthought, but SMU's pumping in money left and right, and they got a great NIL war chest, and they won 11 games last year. But so defensive tackle spot's a big question. I am curious to see where they go at right guard to round out the offensive line. It does feel like they're trending towards Austin Leausa, the transfer from Southern Utah. In the last media observation window, we saw Leausa completely with the first team, and Sonny Mocassini was the second team center along the offensive line. But Mocassini was someone that competed throughout spring with a lot of the first team snaps there. So you could go kind of a coin flip there. And then also tight end. That's a group where, is it just simply the system where tight end's kind of an afterthought? It really wasn't a position targeted much with Jaron Hall. It was targeted with Zach Wilson a bit in that 2020 year with Isaac Rex, but is that group, what role do they really have? Yes, they believe they've got 8 guys that could be on the travel roster, whatever that means, but how are they actually utilized in the passing game? Are they just situational where it's very predictable like it was last year? So I'm kind of curious to see how that position group evolves. It's a real question I have going into the season for BYU offensively. And then just big picture, what can this offense score at a high level? Because I think you got to be around 31, 32 points a game to be in that mix to be a 6-7 win football team. But can they do that? I have questions about that coming out of camp.
Mitch Harper, our BYU insider, I know that we don't live in a simulation, but your simulating of the BYU Southern Illinois game, I feel like we need to lead. Anytime we have you on during the week throughout the season, I will have wanted a simulated game of a preview from the EA Sports side of things. Can we do that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's already in the plans.
Yes.
It'll be very detailed. Yes. I had the lighting. Even you pointed out, you're like, they got the 6 p.m. lighting in the stadium.
They did. The stadium looks phenomenal.
Took it so detailed. Yes, it was pretty impressive to where I was enjoying I'm actually like enjoying the actual flow of the game. So it was I'm even just desperate for football.
That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. All right, Mitch Harper, we appreciate it, man. Thanks for hanging out. We'll chat with you again. And next week, of course, we're excited to be able to break down some actual game predictions and things like that. So we'll talk to you then, man. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Hey, you bet, guys. Take care.
There you go, Mitch Harper. I love that he started like he can't turn it off. So he started breaking down, and Jake Retzlaff had 12.5 yards per throw on average, and you're going. That's why I was like, "What are we doing? What are we doing right now?"
That desperate.
That's how desperate we are.
We've reached that point.
But you know what? When you watch it, I'm telling you, the EA Sports like Lavelle Edwards Stadium and Rice Eccles stadiums that are on there,
it's pretty cool.
They freaking nail them. They absolutely nail them. The lighting, all of it, the views, it's awesome. All right.
Accessing. When TV and radio collide.
Love it.
Wow. This is what you get. You're listening to JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars.
Don't touch that dial.
On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, it's that time of the week, everybody. Thanks for being with us on the program. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. He's JJ, I'm Alex. Thanks for hanging out. And thank you for nominating your Hercules Heroes of the Week by going to KSLSports.com/contests and throwing out the nominations for the people who a lot of times do not get the love and respect that they deserve for really doing awesome work with our youth in our neighborhoods and in our communities. That's what the Hercules Hero of the Week is, JJ, right? When we get with people and we get those awesome stories of people who are those youth sports volunteers that have affected the lives of not just the kids, but their families. And we have a winner this week. Are you ready for this? Dave Alford, nominated by Randy Allred. Here's what it says. Dave has done more to grow the game of lacrosse in Ogden than in the Ogden area than anyone I know. He's volunteered countless hours, spends money out of his own pocket to provide equipment for kids who can't afford it. The coaches, teams at the youth and middle school and high school levels, all because he loves the people and loves the game of lacrosse. Dave shares his knowledge with everybody and genuinely wants to help everyone in a positive experience and have that positive experience. He goes out of his way to encourage players on the opposite team. He's an absolute class act of a person. Weber Lacrosse is lucky to have him in the community. You can be just like Randy, who nominated Dave Alford as the Hercules Hero of the Week. So congrats to Dave on an awesome one this week. Really good job. And he gets $50 from in a gift card form from Hercules Credit Union, and then also gets $200 towards Beehive Meals.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's the real prize.
That's the real prize. Yes,
yeah.
But it's also, I love it because I guarantee Dave is not the kind of guy that would ever toot his own horn. That's why we do this, so that other people can do that for the people who do not get that recognition, and they don't do it for the recognition. So we'll do it for them.
Lacrosse is the fastest growing youth sport in the state of Utah, thanks to people like Dave. You've seen now where it's now sanctioned by the UHSAA. And we now have a professional PLL team here, the Utah Archers, and we just had the PLL hold their event here last weekend. So the center of the lacrosse universe in this country was right here in Harriman at Zions Bank Stadium. And it's all because of people like Dave who have had this grassroots movement to grow lacrosse in this state and have it become a bigger youth sport. And you see the growth in everything that's happened. People like Dave deserve credit for that, so it's great to see him get recognized right now. And lacrosse is a great sport, and people like Dave are making sure that it grows here in the state.
If you want to honor somebody who does an awesome job with the youth sports in your neck of the woods and in your community and with your kids, or whomever it might be, go to KSLSports.com/contest, and we will honor those winners every Thursday right here on the program. So there you go. Congrats to Dave. Let me see here. Oh, this is always fun. There is a list of, and this is Big 12 specific, most overrated teams, most underrated teams, bold predictions, all of it coming from the staff there at CBS Sports, and I wanted to roll some of these out, okay? So most overrated team on this list, according to some, this one was from Chip Patterson, says Arizona is his most overrated team. Now,
that is interesting.
It is crazy but yesterday when you were here, we were talking about how ESPN did like a one of their predictors, and they have 2 Big 12 teams getting in, and they have Arizona being that second Big 12 team getting in, which would mean that Utah and Arizona would likely play in the Big 12 championship game. Which would mean that would be the second time they'd play each other that year. I think that for that scenario to happen, JJ, you'd have to have Utah's maybe one loss during the season be to Arizona. Arizona get to the Big 12 championship game, and then Utah beat Arizona in the Big 12 championship game.
Yeah.
Or
the other way around.
Right. Well, but I mean, like, for them, they had them as the 10 seed. They had Arizona in the 10 seed in their bracket, and they had Utah at 4, which means Utah would have won.
Yes.
Yeah, Utah would have won the Big 12 championship. The actual Big 12 championship game. So if that were the case, then you're talking about the possibility of, and depending on where they're thrown into the bracket, they could play Arizona for a third time for that end of the season. Ask USC how that goes playing Utah 3 times.
Right.
Not necessarily in the same season, but.
And Arizona would not be facing the Utah team they faced last year. And it would be at Rice-Eccles Stadium this time.
So one of the things,
as long as half the team doesn't have the flu, I think Utah wins that game.
That's a good point. Here's one of the things that they point out, though. It says, yes, Noah Fifita and Tet McMillan make up one of the best quarterback wide receiver duos in the country. And yes, Brent Brennan comes from San Jose State with a lot of experience. Great. But they're 21st in the country. They lost 28 transfers off of that team last year that won 10 wins. I didn't know that number.
That's a lot of turnover.
Now, I think when we saw Jed Fish leave, you kind of go, well, you're going to take a hit there. But I don't think that – I think when you have superstar guys like Noah Fifita and Tet McMillan, that kind of takes care of itself. You know what I mean? Like, and the 28 transfers are not starters. Not all of them are starters, okay?
Well,
not all of them.
They have Noah Fifita and Tet McMillan. How are they in the trenches?
Don't know.
Right. We're not talking about that. That would concern me if I'm an Arizona fan. And yes, I can see this scenario playing out where Arizona does become that overrated team. Was what happened last year kind of a flash in the pan deal where teams really didn't know how to defend Noah Fifita? Ted McMillan's an All-American candidate.
Yep.
I mean, he's a star receiver. Noah Fifita is a 5'10" quarterback.
Well, we saw him in person. It might even be less than that.
So are there things now that you have film and you know who he is and how he plays? Like, you don't think Utah's going to be ready for him this time around?
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't guarantee a victory. I'm just saying maybe perhaps teams have had more time to prepare for Noah Fifita and what he does and how he plays. And if he's able to overcome that and has a monster season, then you're like, oh, this dude's legit. But how much of what last year happened was kind of just a little bit of magic in a bottle?
Could be.
We'll see.
Could be.
I can see how they could view Arizona as being very overrated.
Sure. I don't know if I just was interested in that one because Kansas State is also listed as overrated according to this list. And that was Shihan Jeharaja who actually says that Kansas State is overrated. Now, somebody put Colorado as overrated. That was Dennis Dodd. I don't think that they're overrated because I don't think people are rating them.
They're picked to finish 11th in the Big 12.
That's where they are.
Is that?
What's up, boss? You believe that?
No, I do not.
You hold on.
No. Let me finish, Prime. I do not believe. And maybe that's Dennis Dodd's little punch in the gut on top of it, like to say, oh, 11th is overrated. You're actually the 15th or 16th worst team in the conference. So
they might be.
Other teams that are on the overrated list, according to some of these writers, Oklahoma State gets a vote. West Virginia is in there. I think people are worried about West Virginia, or they're giving them all that love from last year, and it might not last. UCF is another team that people have as a sneaky, really good team, but that might be an overrated. Now, here are the underrated teams. You ready for this? Ooh, Kansas. Come on. Kansas. What the write-up is Jalen Daniels at quarterback. If he can stay healthy, Lance Leipold and his team are going to win just about every game they face off against. It's like, that's a lot of ifs.
That prediction's just dust in the wind.
I know. Iowa State is listed as an underrated team. I don't think that's the case because I think maybe BYU fans.
I think they're definitely underrated.
BYU fans know exactly what Iowa State can do. They know exactly what Rocco Beck can do. They know exactly what Matt Campbell can do as a head coach there at Iowa State.
They went 6-3 last year in league play, and the quarterback and running back are back. Their schedule's tough. They have to play at Utah, and they got Kansas State. But
they they freaking, here's the other thing. They have dogs on the offensive line, like absolute
they're
beasts.
good.
And that is going to be huge for Rocco Beck, for the run game. And that's something that BYU is going to basically hinge their entire success this year on whether or not the turnaround that TJ Woods can get on that O-line is going to be massive for this team to be able to do well. Any mentions of BYU on this so far? Nope. Texas Tech, also talked about as one of those, some people still have them as the dark horse.
You skipped over UCF.
UCF is on both the overrated and the underrated list, so they cancel each other out.
That's all you need to know. Because that could go either way. That could go either way. They are the most either way team in the league, in my opinion.
Now look,
they could win the league. They could go 2-7 in conference play. None of it would surprise me.
By the way, they returned back R.J. Harvey, who I think missed most of last year, right? But had 1,400 yards rushing the year before.
Right. And they got KJ Jefferson, the quarterback.
Yes. So I think that they're more on the underrated side than they would be on the overrated side.
They got a lot of talent.
Yep.
I'd look out for them.
And then, of course, Kansas State is also one of these teams that's on the underrated and overrated teams.
Which is it?
I am trying to find one mention of BYU in all this, and I'm going through. The only time I see BYU pop up and mentioned is in the predicted finish side of things. The highest that they are predicted to finish by these experts, and it was Richard Johnson, one of the writers of CBS Sports, the highest rank that they have them finishing is number 12. The highest. Most have them at 3 have them at 14, 3 have them at 15, and then you have the one writer has them at 12.
So BYU fan, do you care? Is this a good thing or a bad thing? Is it a good thing that no one's talking about BYU and they're going to exceed expectations, no pressure, chip on your shoulder, nobody believes in us stuff? Or is it frustrating that no one's talking about the program right now outside of our market?
So Utah, by the vast majority of these writers, is predicted to win the conference. And the second most votes to win the conference were, let me see here, hold on, got to go back again, were Kansas State and then Oklahoma State. So there you go. So Utah is by far the one that gets the most respect from these. So out of the 6 writers, out of the 7 writers, Utah had 4. Utah's number 1 for 4 of them and then number 2 for 3 of them. So
4 of the 7 have a Utah-Kansas State championship.
Yes. And you know what? I don't hate it. I've started to buy into Arizona not being necessarily as good. I fell for all that. I'm on board. I'm on board with Arizona being overrated. Noah Fafita. Come on.
3 of those 6 riders have them at 6.
Arizona?
Yes.
It's tough at the top, man. I'm telling you. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We've got more around the corner. When we return, let me see here. We got tons of things to get into. We will come back. Stick with us, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Without, presented by G2G Bars. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Modest Mouse coming back. Love it. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Happy Thursday to you. JJ, I reacted harshly to the headline that I saw in the rundown earlier today. And I think the headline was less about the content. I thought we were actually going to roll with, we were going to have a conversation, a women's professional soccer conversation that I just was going to be out of my depth on.
You just weren't in the mood this week?
Well, no. It's the content of it.
Because I did a lot of research.
Well,
I was ready to go.
Well, I'm fine.
Utah Royals have a very important draft coming up next year.
But here's the thing. The NWSL is apparently going to scrap its collegiate draft.
Oh, wait, what?
Mm-hmm.
So I did all that research on the draft for nothing?
Who'd you have in round 7?
I am an idiot. Somebody from BYU.
Some hyphenated name who married a football player at BYU.
Yes.
Be like, ooh, she's good. they're going to have phenomenal athlete kids. Let's go. The NWSL, scrapping the collegiate draft, and frankly, it's an interesting prospect. Would the NFL, would the NBA, would any of the major leagues survive a model like this where they allowed, because what they're talking about is you're talking about the league going to a model of free agency as being the thing. Like that you basically you graduate from college, you're not getting drafted, you're getting phone calls. And then that player gets to decide where they get to go. Now, I will say in this scenario, the way that it sounds, I get nervous because the rich would get absolutely richer.
Would they?
I think so.
There's only so many spots on a team. And
I guess
plus
if the
you still would have to play with the same cap rules, right?
Yes.
So there's one sport where I think this would be actually very interesting and beneficial. It's not the NFL. Because can you imagine doing undrafted free agents for 7 rounds worth of players on top of all the other players? Give me a break.
You know what it would be?
You have to draft in the NFL.
It would be like 19 guys from Alabama joining up forces again to play for the New York Jets. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
It would get wild like that.
It's just done. The NHL, no, because we just went through our first NHL draft here in this NHL draft in this market, and you saw how young these players are, and that just doesn't work either. Major League Baseball is the same as the NHL. I just don't think that would work. There is one sport, though, this is the NBA, where I think this is where they should go. You should not have a draft in the NBA. Because what's the biggest problem the NBA has right now? Starts with a T.
Talent? What?
Tanking.
Oh.
They cannot figure out how to get teams.
I was going to say, talent
what are the Jazz doing right now? What are they doing?
Not tanking, JJ, because they are.
I'm not saying the Jazz are tanking. I'm going to use a different word, a different buzzword. They're angling. They're angling towards the draft. They're angling towards youth. Why? Because that's the only path to getting that star player that's going to take you to a title. And they've tried it without. Because how many times have the Jazz had the number 1 overall pick in the draft? Never.
0 times.
How often have they been in the upper lottery, meaning like top 5?
That is also hard to come by.
You can count it on one hand.
Yeah.
Daryl Griffith and Dante Exum and Darren Williams.
Was it Ennis Cantor number 3 overall?
But it was a pick from the Nets.
Yeah, that's right.
If you remember that.
Yeah.
And Darren Williams, they were actually 6. They had to trade up to 3 to get Darren Williams. So they really haven't been able to build that way. But imagine if you don't have any draft picks and you just go out and sign the college players that you want or straight out of high school or whatever, and you basically just have to really try to negotiate with these players because the tanking is just absolutely hurting the league.
Well, here's what I'll say. It hurts my brain to try to figure out how this would work. We would never be able to really know how it works until it actually happened, and none of these executives would ever let it happen. What pushed the NWSL to be to do it? I think just to be a little bit different, right? Yeah. And the European leagues do. Yeah, I mean, look, they bring guys up through their system for a long time.
Right. Do they have a draft? Do they have an English Premier League draft? And how's that working? Pretty darn well for that league for a long, long time.
Well, and, while we're at it, let's do some relegation stuff, too. Which is also phenomenal.
Yeah,
right?
Let's do that.
I love it.
Like, punish these teams for not doing things the right way and make it more competitive.
All right.
And look, you say, well, then the Knicks will sign all the best players. Look, they have the same amount of roster spots. They have the same cap. They would be limited in how much money they could spend every year.
Look, the Knicks just went about it. They went about it. They did the hard way of getting that full Villanova national championship team on there.
Instead of angling for a draft by tanking, you're angling for a draft by clearing cap space in order to sign that big star free agent.
You know what I love? We've coined a new term. JJ coined a new term. You're not tanking, you're angling. And it has the idea that you're fishing for that big recruit, but you're also finding that angle to be able to say, we're not tanking, we're angling.
There you go.
So, this is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 EKSL Sports Zone. Boy, we're running a little bit late. This went long with all of our last few discussions here. But awesome show. If you missed any of it, you can go back to take a listen on KSLSports.com. You can click on the podcast button there or wherever you find your fine podcasts. Look for any of the shows across the entirety of the station, and we will be right there. All right. We got stuff to give away, yes? Ah, yes. Here we go. It's not even a Win Ticket Wednesday. We're giving out some tickets right here. All right? Caller number 12 right now gets a pair of tickets to Real Salt Lake versus the New England Revolution. That's coming up a week from Saturday. So it's just, next Saturday. August 31st at America First Field. Check it out. Caller number 12 right now, 801-575-ZONE. If you didn't get those tickets to your college football game that you wanted to go to, go to Real Salt Lake versus New England Revolution, 801-575-ZONE. That's 801-575-9663. Caller number 12 gets a pair of tickets to Real Salt Lake. All right. So I don't really understand what had gone on. There's a couple things going on here. Colorado apparently tried to reach out to the Saudi PIF, which is the Public Investment Fund that, of course, is now made world famous by the Live Tour, by many of what people consider the sports washing side of things, JJ, if you're familiar with that term. Basically buying a lot of sports coverage and a lot of sports events to hide the fact that you are actually not a very good human rights state in this world, not doing good in very many ways. Colorado apparently reached out and tried to partner with the Saudi PIF in a crazy move, and the Big 12 was even wondering, like, hey, maybe we should get involved in all this. It's kind of a wild thing. Because Deion Sanders and the staff have been trying to get innovative on all this stuff, and it's kind of a wild thing. Now, how did they find out about this? Because Trevor Riley, if that name rings a bell, formerly University of Utah, former in the NFL, formerly the special teams coordinator. By the way, 2 weeks ago, it was 3 weeks ago that Trevor Riley resigned from Colorado. We talked about it when it first happened, right? And apparently, he went on record about trying to pull the funding for the schools more than 5,000, or the school's 5430 NIL collective. And he expressed to Sports Illustrated there are no bad feelings, but he felt like that there were a few things going on in the program that Trevor Riley did not like. And I say kudos to him because you know what he did? And here's the quote that he actually said. He said, "You paid me $90,000 a year and let me handle special teams. I did all this work in your name and was told to pursue it. I burned through all my contacts in my Mormon community, which is worth about $3 trillion. Now I get these people to answer my calls because I just found out today that none of my endeavors will happen." Wild, right?
I can't imagine what it was like for Trevor Riley going into Saudi Arabia and getting a meeting with the Saudis. This sounds like a movie. Remember that movie they did about the guys that they were like college guys that were running weapons in Iraq?
Yeah. It was like they were Lords of War maybe? No, what was it? Yeah, something along those lines. But yes,
it kind of reminds me. I mean, it's obviously not. It's not much different. Okay,
is Jonah Hill in that thing.
But you're out in the Middle East and you're like meeting. What is Trevor Riley, the special teams coach at Colorado, doing? Setting up a meeting with the Saudis. What? How did we get to this point?
Think about how wild it is.
That's nuts.
I went to Saudi Arabia, got a meeting with the Saudis who were interested in pursuing business. I have the email receipts to prove it, and you guys let it fall flat on its face. I did nothing illegal. I was trying to help Colorado the best way that I knew how. All of what Trevor Riley said on his trip to the Middle East. Maybe one of the weirdest twists I've heard in the Colorado saga. Maybe it's because we know. Maybe it's because, I mean, we've interviewed Trevor Riley a handful of times on this program, across the station.
Yeah, Trevor's awesome.
What a weird freaking situation he's been put in.
And he's being honest about what happened. And that gives you an eye into what's going on behind the scenes to try to come up with the money that they need to run these programs.
I dare say that this resignation is a bigger tell of what's going on in this program than any of the other players that have hit the transfer portal. Do you think I'm right? Do you think that, like, to me, when your coaches who have shown some loyalty to you are feeling betrayed and they're leaving, there are some real problems at Colorado. And maybe he was more aiming that at the administration and maybe at the top of what Colorado was.
He didn't mention Dion by name, but he's clearly got some issues with people in the athletic department.
I don't know what he was saying about he's like, I've burned all the bridges in my Mormon community. Is it because he went to Saudi Arabia?
No. I think it had to do with just trying to get people to commit, and it didn't. Everything, all the work he did, they didn't end up using.
Right. Yeah.
And he felt like, what did you have me do this for? If I did all this work, I went to Saudi Arabia, and what he's saying is I used a lot of contacts that he had he knew through church, right?
Yes. Let me.
And then what happens if you have all these things set up, and then Colorado's like,
I'm not totally sure this is how it went down, but I could see something like this happening. The school needed to get involved and say, hey, from a PR perspective, this would be bad for us. We're not going to pursue it. Because I bet that was what a big chunk of the conversation happened was. They go, we can't. Yeah, the Live Tour can do it. F1 can do it. A handful of teams in the Premier League can do it. But we're a university here in the United States that is an academic institution. I don't think that from an optics perspective, this is a smart move for us. But that's a conversation you have to have, Colorado, prior to any of this happening in the first place, right?
Yeah.
They can't go, well, we don't know how it's going to look. You know what they thought? I bet they thought happened. Let's see if this is a possibility. He gets set up with a meeting with the Saudis, and then the school's like, okay. I bet they went further already. I bet Trevor Riley went further than they thought that it would go, and then the school got cold feet because they didn't want to. Right. And that's an okay thing. You have to make you have to be very, very, very careful with making a deal like this. The backlash might not be worth it compared to what you would be getting from a funding standpoint. Brett Yormark, by the way, would sell his children for an opportunity with the Saudis, right? But that's the Big 12. The Big 12 as an institution would be able to get away with that way more than Colorado would be able to as an individual member institution.
None of them would be. Well, look what happened to Live Tour. Look at the backlash for the Live Tour.
And even the individual players.
Do you even know where to watch the Live Tour?
I know they got shorts on.
I mean, they're making money, but no one's watching because you don't know where to watch it. You don't know anything about it.
Yeah, but Phil Mickelson lost all that weight drinking coffee. I've seen those commercials popping up so much. I don't know why that's the big. That's how much I've seen. That is where I've been seeing Phil Mickelson not playing golf. On my feed trying to be like, and I've dropped the weight drinking black coffee. So I get it.
Ties to the Saudis is not deemed positive. And I think the University of Colorado's athletic department, if it came to find out that they were getting NIL funding from the Saudis, I think there would be a lot of frustration there. But this is the conundrum that everyone's in because everybody needs money so bad. Well, I don't think everybody wants to know how the sausage is made. When we're talking about large amounts of money like that, who's involved? Well, yeah, some entities that may not be above board all the time.
Okay, look.
Or like the Saudis, obviously. I don't have to explain that.
Money from the Saudis? Great band name.
Money from the Saudis.
Or at least an album.
Funded by the Saudis. There you go. Our band was funded by the Saudis.
Corey Haim and his newest, Corey Feldman. Corey Feldman and his newest band, and their newest achievement with their album "Money from the Saudis." We'd give away those for
I think this show needs to be funded by the Saudis. Sorry, G2G bars, we got a new sponsor, the Saudis.
But look, if I got a meeting with them and then you guys suddenly went, no, that's too far down the line. We didn't think you could go this far. I'd definitely be pissed. I had to take a flight over
Holy crap.
I had to go take a flight over to Saudi Arabia, man. Come on. I had to go take a meeting in United Arab Emirates, man. Come on. All right.
Trevor Riley had a meeting with the Saudis.
Can you believe that that's the demise of his gig at Colorado? Like, what a weird freaking tale.
That is crazy.
And again, like I said, of all the things that have indicated that something's wrong in Colorado, this might be actually the most damning. And it's kind of sneaky under the radar, by the way, because we're so used to – because most people don't know who Trevor Riley is. We do.
Yeah.
We know what he was doing on the staff. And he followed him. Guess what? He came in there and was like – and they love Trevor Riley. He
was the only guy that could wear jeans in the facility. I don't know if you knew that.
No, why?
Like Dion had a very strict rule about you have to wear like
slacks,
proper attire.
Okay.
Like
smart casual.
He let Trevor get away with wearing whatever he wanted because Trevor didn't want to wear that crap.
All right, Trevor, I'll let you do what you want, man.
All the latest news and notes from the league and the locals in the NFL. JJ and Alex bring you the NFL Blitz on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome on in. It is JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Alex Curie, Jeremiah Jensen. He's JJ, I'm Alex. Any confusion on that? So Sly yesterday was on with us.
Yes.
And, of course, we dip into Sly's knowledge on the NFL stuff. And we're at the Dish Pros, and we have the NFL Network up on one side, and we have we chose to watch, I don't know why we did, actually, because in retrospect, it was that Baylor-Utah game. So I was like, oh, they're going to play each other this year. You certainly hope it's not going to be the same. First of all, longest game in the history of mankind, it felt like.
That game was garbage.
The Utes had 3 points basically the entire game, but ended up pulling that win out. And I'm telling you, it's just so it's going to be so much better this year for that Ute offense. There's no way it can't be, right? So, but then on top of that, like Sly gets the ick from watching preseason games because he's like, this makes me so anxiety. I'm so anxiety-ridden right now because it just brings up those feelings of, and you know, the guys who went through it. Hans always talks about it too. Is just like the amount of stuff, like the things that it churns up inside of you, like the feelings of like, you know, and how just like you're going week to week and you're seeing, am I getting cut? What's going on? Are they calling me? And just, you know, it's the version of the other. I get this recurring dream that BYU calls me up and goes, you actually didn't graduate, you didn't take your last final, and we're going to have to take your diploma away. At this point, like, the reality is it doesn't matter, but you spend so much time on that thing. And
it's worse than having dreams that you're in your underwear. It's like, how did I get here? Why am I walking around the supermarket in my underwear?
See, I'm okay with that because I normally kind of do that anyway.
It's not far from reality.
Check out the Bowmans in Kaysville on a Saturday morning.
Oh.
What are you looking at, dude? Like what you see? that's the way I roll with these. Sweetheart, don't look at the man.
Oh my God!
Like what you see, mama? Whoa!
Oh, the eyes.
Anyway, I was thinking about that today, and I was just going, man, we're watching those preseason games, and he's just having like those flashbacks, man, and just like, it's not good. All right, first up on the old NFL Blitz. And these are fun because we have some audio. And Sean Payton continues to pump up Zach Wilson. And I want you to listen to this audio. They named Bo Nix a starter for your team yesterday, by the way.
He is the starter for the Denver Broncos.
And I don't know if you know this, but lots of John Elway comparisons, including the fact that he was the last rookie to start game one.
He's
for the Broncos.
Not anywhere close to John Elway. Doesn't play like John Elway. I don't understand.
Yeah,
that.
But you know
Just
what?
Stop that.
When you start doing those comparisons, some people are going to be like, why isn't he taking us to any Super Bowls? Like that. That's a bad thing to do.
He's not John Elway.
But here's what Sean Payton keeps saying about Zach Wilson, the most recent one after practice.
You see the arm talent, but the decision making, like today, and the timing of there's 3 throws today that he was on a little bit of a heater. I mean, it was impressive. I would say the overall understanding of the offense, the schemes of what we're doing, decision making, and then also, hey, one play, get on to the next. You know, it's not going to be perfect. You know, an incompletion is a good play. It's not a bad play, but we're avoiding sacks, fumbles, turnover, negative play differential. We talk about avoiding those things, keeping drives going, and by and large, when you do that, you give yourself a chance to kick field goals or score touchdowns. It's harder to do that, overcoming, you know, some of those other things.
Sean Payton is talking a lot about his third-string quarterback.
Like he's trying to sell a used car.
Now, that is the thing I wanted to bring up. Does it feel a little bit like when your employer is about to let you go, they bring you in and they say, hey, I'll get you a great letter of recommendation? That was his letter of recommendation for Zach Wilson, right?
Sometimes in business, and people say, yeah, exactly. It's like, hey, this guy applied for our job. Is he great? Oh, he's amazing. He's just been
phenomenal.
What they're actually trying to do is dump their employee.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, I've got to get this guy out of here. Oh, we don't have to fire him if he gets another job. We don't have to pay severance or anything. This is great. Let's tell the other company how great he is.
Oh, my. See, and then we get even more cynical when we start to think, too, like he's pumping up his value so that they might be able to get some value in return. Not just get this guy someplace else. They want to get a guy maybe someplace else and maybe get a 7th rounder for him.
Why isn't he doing this for Jarrett Stidham?
Because he's already there and he's going to stay there.
Exactly. If you have somebody of Zach Wilson's value as your number 3 quarterback, you're going to try to pitch how great he's doing to try to get some value in return, because there's some teams, I think the Buffalo Bills are looking for a backup quarterback, and they know Zach Wilson well. Could you pry a 5th or a 6th round pick out of the Bills at this point because they're desperate enough to make a trade for you for your number 3 quarterback? Well, that's what's going on here. And I'm sure Zach's doing great. This is not about Zach. This is about Sean Payton and the Broncos organization trying to get value for somebody who's not going to see the field this year.
I wonder if you're going to see him in another uniform. You brought up the Bills needing a backup. Mm-hmm. But I thought, they take on each other in the AFC East for the past couple of seasons. They know exactly what they're going to get with Zach Wilson. I don't know if that's going to be something that they want. Although he has beaten the Bills a couple times.
You don't mind having that as your backup, right?
Yeah. No, sure.
Was he great as a starter with the Jets? No. Is anybody great as a starter with the Jets, including Aaron Rodgers this year? Guaranteed.
Where's Nate Peterman? Is he with the Raiders again?
Peterman.
Peterman's a good guy. All right, next up, another local name that just continues to shine bright in the NFL despite everybody saying that it would never work. But New Orleans Saints human utility knife, Taysom Hill, the lore has gotten even better because Dennis Allen, the head coach of the Saints, of course, actually had some thoughts of what he wanted to do, and this is what he actually said about where he wanted to put Taysom Hill and how he wanted to treat him on the team. This is what he said.
Early on, we kind of thought about making him a Sam linebacker.
Oh, my God.
But there's
so
many. No, I'm not kidding.
No way.
We talked about that.
Who's we?
Well, we on defense, all right. But the head coach at the time was like, he wasn't giving up anything. So
got it. But you're the head coach. What are you talking about?
Yeah. But now we got him doing so many things now. Fullback, runner. There's only so many ball plays a guy can play.
Where would you put him on defense?
I'd play him at Sam linebacker, and I'd rush him about 50% of the time.
He would kill people, I feel like, Taysom Hill. I think one game.
Yeah.
Why not? Let's do it in one game.
All right. Well, let's see. Let's see him do what he's going to do at fullback, at tailback, at receiver, at tight end.
Yeah.
Personal protector, kick returner. He's got enough jobs.
There you go. Sam linebacker and then rush him 50% of the time. A true two-way player. Now, we've seen him do the special teams thing. We've seen him blocking punts. That's kind of what put him on the map, and then he just stayed on. He just stayed on doing all this. It just is phenomenal to see that a guy like Taysom Hill still gets that respect, right? And these coaches are like, we'll find a place for him. This is why Tim Tebow couldn't make it in the league, because he didn't have the humility to go, yeah, I don't have to be the starting quarterback to make an impact on this team or to make millions of dollars for a long period. What year is Taysom in now?
Oh gosh, he entered the league in 2016.
Yeah, so he's like 7th or 8th team?
Yeah.
Or 7th or 8th year?
Yeah, all with the Saints. Yeah.
I mean, a phenomenal. He's going to get to 10 years in the league. That is, you would have never thought. We would have never thought.
You've heard players bringing it up. In fact, his quarterback with the Saints brought it up. They need to consider him for the Hall of Fame because there's never been a player that's done what he does. And how do you measure what he does?
Slow your roll a little bit on the Hall of Fame talk.
I didn't start it.
I guess they have shown the stats before where they're like, no one has had this stat line ever.
And I'm not saying he's there yet, but how much longer can he continue to do this in the league without people saying, this is unique, this is once in a generation we're seeing this happen?
We're asking him to put on 60 pounds. We're going to put him at right guard.
It was Derek Carr who posed that he should be considered for the Hall of Fame because of what he's doing and the impact it's having on the league. And it is a huge compliment from a defensive coach like Dennis Allen to say, I would put Taysom Hill at linebacker and I would have him rush the quarterback. On top of everything else he's able to do, is there anybody in the NFL that could do what he does?
No.
And give Taysom credit for having the humility to do what Tim Tebow, who portrayed himself as the most humble guy on the planet, didn't have the humility to do. And say, you know what? This isn't working out at this level. What can I do to prolong my NFL career and have an impact and be a part of this game? Taysom was willing to do that, and look at the result. It's been phenomenal, and whether Hall of Fame or not, I mean, obviously that's down the road, and that would be incredible. And he has a lot to accomplish before being even considered that. But the fact that he's even getting that kind of respect shows you just how much people in the league are impressed by him and value him.
All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. We've got more to go around the corner. We have our best and worst coming up. You don't want to miss it. Stay here, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Wrapping up the hour with our picks for the best and worst moments on today's show. As JJ and Alex want to hear your best and worst of the day.
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. It is a Thursday. You're almost to your Friday, frankly. I hope your head is at Friday right now, because then that's one day closer to the weekend. I'll allow you to be living in Friday right now on a Thursday evening, and then tomorrow it's basically Saturday, okay?
Why don't we just have a pre-Labor Day weekend?
No, I know that.
Are you giving people permission to have a pre-Labor Day weekend?
Labor Day Eve? Let's go.
Do it.
I would absolutely be for it. It is the best and worst. It's brought to you by an incredible selection of Kia, Subaru, Chevy, Jeep, Dodge, or Ram. Visit the Doug Smith dealerships in American Fork and Spanish Fork. Great service starts with know-how, and nobody knows like Doug in American Fork and Spanish Fork. There you go. I put down on the list, I saw this video last night, and I don't really, this is not my team, but this is a guy I've watched play a lot of baseball for some reason over the past. Well, he's been playing for a long time. Joey Votto.
How do you not after that long?
17 seasons, man.
All with one team.
Good for him. He announced it on the socials and said, hey, I'm hanging it up. It's been a heck of a career. It's been awesome. And I love that people have these conversations. But I like Joey Votto. This is a guy who's a former NL MVP. Ask Dale Murphy if that gets you into the Hall of Fame necessarily, and the answer might be no. He's a 17-year. Did we say a six-time
All-Star?
How many Gold Gloves?
One
Gold Glove. Career in 17 seasons, a career batting average of .294, on base percentage of .409, and slugging percentage of .920. Those are really good numbers. Okay, ninth best. The .409 on base percentage is the ninth best in the history of the game since 1947. There have been some pretty good dudes.
Yes.
That's just a guy who gets on base. Obviously, guys like Barry Bonds, who got walked every day multiple times. Manny Ramirez, those are some of the other ones. But those guys are would-be auto Hall of Fame guys. But Joey Votto.
Yeah, we know.
Joey Votto.
Let me give some stats on him real quick to give some perspective.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So if you take between 2007 and 2023, which is essentially the prime of his career.
Yeah.
With those with at least 5,000 plate appearances, Votto's 920 OPS trails only Mike Trout and David Ortiz. He was second in runs created in that span to Miguel Cabrera. So 1,502 to 1,518. Miguel Cabrera, Hall of Famer. David Ortiz, Hall of Famer. Mike Trout will be Hall of Famer.
Crazy.
So Votto, yes, he deserves to be Hall of Famer. But first, put Dale Murphy in, please. Can we stop this insanity and put Dale Murphy in the Hall of Fame?
It's pretty bonkers.
One of the best players in the 80s is not like, what are you doing? Why are we still doing this? Find a way to make it happen.
Well, you have to put guys like that in when you know that this is not a steroid era conversation.
It was the 80s. Nobody was doing what he did in the 80s, outside of maybe Andre Dawson. It just wasn't an era of super sluggers. He won 2 MVPs, multiple All-Star. He was one of the best 5-10 players of that decade. He should be in.
Okay.
And to all you writers that haven't put him in, you suck.
JJ has spoken. Get him in. I think everybody sort of agrees. Not sort of. I think it's pretty. I don't get it. The baseball writers are.
Yeah, they are.
Come on, man.
Yeah, I said it probably more kind than I should have.
Yeah, listen.
There's an issue there.
So the worst story of the day is actually pretty decent story, but it's it highlights a worst going on in my life, which is this is my favorite too. They refer to him just as the pommel horse guy. And if I tell you the pommel horse guy from Team USA, you can picture his face. You can picture him in his glasses. Steven, is that how you pronounce it, or is it Stefan?
There seems to be some confusion on the internets.
Steven Nedorosic.
Nice. Ooh, you nailed it.
Nedorosic.
Very
will
Baltic
join
of
the
you.
he's gonna be on the Dancing with the Stars this season. And the reason this isn't bad is because I will definitely have to probably watch a lot of this at my house. These are one of the compromising shows that Now, here's the thing.
My wife doesn't care, so I'm off the hook.
I know, that's the thing. But see, my wife...
Which I love. I love her for it.
She taught dance for years.
Yeah.
Dance was her thing.
It's dumb.
So she watches it, and she's like, oh, my gosh, look at this person. And then there's... anyway, it's going to be on at our house. That's the worst story of the day. It's going to be on at our house, and Pommel Horse Guy's going to be on there.
Well, Pommel Horse, of course, is Superman.
That's right.
He's the 2024 Clark Kent.
That's exactly
Takes
right.
the glasses off and he turns into Superman.
All right,
So.
Vidal, listen, you rolled out some awesome deals on some furniture last time, but we're talking now about the one that is going to change people's lives, and that is the mattress that they're sleeping on right now is robbing them of actual rest, and you guys can save the day with an adjustable bed. Tell us a little bit about the adjustable bed and how people need to get into it. Let's go.
Of course. Let's move into that really, really good deal. Let's call it the deal of the day, guys. So let's start early with the deal of the day. Now, on this one, it's going to be a queen size adjustable. There's a lot of people out there that still like to be really close to each other and still want the queen size, and that's totally okay. But now let's make it better with an adjustable base. Now, this mattress right here that I'm about to tell you, we had it a couple of deals ago. We had it for $14.99 for the mattress only, and this is a mattress that you're going to like. An IntelliBed G3. This is the one that you have at home. Am I correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know which one JJ has, but we're both IntelliBed.
I got a queen.
Okay, but we're both IntelliBed guys. I know I have the G3. I don't know if that's what JJ has, but I like to think that that mine's classier. So yes, I have the G3 for sure.
Well,
G3
we do
sounds
have
like it's got an engine in it.
It does. No, I'm telling you, it changed my whole sleeping situation because it's a phenomenal bed.
So we do have the G3 available in a queen size, okay? Now, when we had it on sale, it was for $14.99, okay? Now, we got a huge truck full of queen size adjustable bases. Now, this one has head up, foot up, zero gravity buttons. This is the best thing. These are not buttons anymore. This is actually a touchscreen controller. This is amazing. It looks very, very luxury. Okay. On this one, it's going to have all the bells and whistles except with the massage. There's a lot of people out there that they're not so comfortable with the massage. Not a problem. Head up, foot up, adjustable zero gravity, LED lights on the bottom, US port charges. The base alone retails for $3,500. Plus, the regular retail mattress on this one is $6,000. Now, we had it on sale a couple of deals ago for $14.99. That's about $4,000 to $5,000, say, anywhere else. Cheapest you're going to find anywhere else. I have the exact same thing, the quality that nobody else is going to give you for $19.99. $19.99. Boom. I hope Tom is not listening to me right now because I'm going to get in trouble.
Did you say
$19.99?
LED lights?
All of it, man.
LED lights.
LED lights.
That's fancy.
USB port charges.
Wow.
I mean, you got a touchscreen controller. That controller by itself is $300 to replace. We're not going to charge you for that. Nowhere even close to that price. $19.99. That's not even the price of the base by itself somewhere else. I'm blowing up the store. We're blowing up the store. Boom, boom, boom. There you go.
Okay, boom prices at the warehouse. Let me tell you where it is. 1825 South, 300 West. Get Vidal to give you those deals right there in person. He's going to make a deal with you. Go in and look, go around the store, go in the warehouse part. I mean, it is the warehouse, a big old warehouse full of a lot of furniture they want to be able to get to you. You just go down. You just go down 3rd West here in Salt Lake City, 1825 South and 3rd West. It's across from the Costco, just east of the Costco in Salt Lake, and just north of Sam's Club. So go check it out for yourself. 1825 South, 300 West. It is the Boom Deals at the Warehouse. Stay right here, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Ladies and gentlemen,
You're locked into JJ and Alex. With the insight and analysis on the teams you can't live without. Presented by G2G Bars. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Final segment of the day. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. I forgot to tell you this, JJ. There's a J.J. Watt just combined forces with Culver's. He's a Wisconsin guy, Wisconsin, played at Wisconsin. I don't know if he's from there originally, but maybe he might be.
Yeah, I think he is.
Okay. He just combined forces with Culver's. You can start ordering things, and you better start doing it JJ's way. You better start freaking bringing stuff in, and let's get it on board. It's not just J.J. Watt anymore. I want to start ordering things JJ's way. All right?
Okay.
I don't know what that is exactly because it just says it says learn more. I don't want to click on that. I don't want to get burger ads.
Not safe for work.
I don't want to get burger ads. Yeah, we will start drooling in here. A couple guys trying to lose pounds.
Welcome to Culver's, Alex.
The fried cheese curds. Chuck Martin. I know you know who he is. No, you don't? All right, he's the head coach of Miami, Ohio. Is that Maction? Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Speaking of.
He's accusing Alabama of illegally stealing his player. Not just any player either. Stealing his kicker.
What, did they come by late at night and throw him in the back of a trunk? Like Nick Saban pulled up and
Kalen DeBoer
gave him
there.
the old what's the gas and
the chloroform.
Yeah, chloroform. Yeah. Like old school, one of those
like
old
the old
movies.
Cartoons.
Yeah, and then hauled them away.
Oh my goodness. No, it's what's weird about it is they're accusing Alabama of taking their kicker, who was one of the best.
I care?
Yeah, you don't. And by the way, Alabama does not have to poach anybody. They can drive by and just go and just give you the wink, and then boom, you're on their team. You're suddenly on their team. Miami, Ohio, don't get upset. Your kicker, Graham Nicholson, wanted to be at Alabama more than he wanted to be at Miami, Ohio.
But does he have SEC speed? That's what I want to know.
Listen, what's funny about Nick Saban is he hasn't had the best kickers during his time in Alabama. So
No.
it's crazy.
Kalen DeBoer does now.
Yeah, we'll see. All right. For JJ, I'm Alex, our producer Jeremy. We'll be back again tomorrow on a Friday edition of the program. Game night live at Bountiful, between Bountiful and Farmington. We'll see you then, everybody. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.